Welcome back, shop rats. We acquired some new equipment for the shop, and well, we're not going to show you yet, but I will say this to intrigue you and get you to not go away. This is going to be incorporated into my modular universal tooling system here that I have in the shop that you may not even realize that I have, although you've seen me use it multiple times. Don't go away. You're going to want to learn from this one.
This is My Cars Shop.
Just like the way I built Wonder Woman's jet, let me make this very clear. I didn't intend to make this a part of the modular system. When I picked this up, there's another component that's required to go with it. And I already have one that I use for some other things. And when I went to go get it, I didn't have enough cash because I knew the price on this, but the other part that we'll show you in a minute that I already have that I use for other things.
Did I mention that I use it for other things?
Has almost doubled in price. And first of all, I didn't have enough cash to get it. Second of all, I'll be ding-danged if I'm going to pay that kind of money for what it is. And you'll see that in a few minutes. But to keep you, in suspense and so forth, let's just go ahead and flip this thing down. And as soon as I do, you'll be able to read the box. And you can assume that it probably is what the box says it is.
Or maybe not.
So let's flip her down here. And Colleen, thanks for the tool. I'm going to figure out a way to cut myself with this yet. I've had this for a couple weeks. I just hadn't gotten around to, because life has just been, this is why I keep a 4 to 6 weeks margin on episodes, because I'm down to about 3 weeks right now. Life has just been really, really stupid. And yes, I even did seriously consider cutting back to 2 episodes a week, but I feel like I'm getting my feet under me again. I don't just do 3 episodes a week just for you. I'm sorry to admit there's some selfish motive in that as well. And that motive is it really keeps me moving on the projects, because that production schedule, that comes like a freight train. And I'm not talking a slow freight train. I'm talking like a screaming fast freight train out of Danville, Kentucky. And if you're into railroads, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, you don't, but that's okay. Woo! So we have, well, you could come on over to my pad if you want. Oh, I thought I heard somebody pull up on a 10-speed bike. So what we have here
is a failure to communicate.
What we have here is a cheap, it's about $60 buffer. And I had a motor, I was going to make a buffer, and then I realized that I had some money that had been sitting in an envelope for a year that I got for Christmas that I forgot about, but my wife reminded me of, and I went, I think that's just enough money to go ahead and purchase this. So what we have here is a 6-inch, 3,450 RPM, half-inch arbor buffer. Remember that 10-speed bike noise I said I was hearing? It's that removable chrome on the Golden Mullet rear bumper that I was hearing.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled content.
All right, so I was saying we have a Central Machinery 3450 RPM half-inch arbor. It's nothing fancy, but it's going to do the job for us. We got some stuff, and then we got some stuff, and then we got some other stuff here. But we were talking about my universal tooling system that I have. So what I intended to do was this stand, which I bought for a long time. It
wasn't just a one-night stand.
This stand is actually for a grinder and a buffer and stuff like that. And my thought was, well, I'll pick one of those up and I will mount that on another one of these. But they were almost $50 when I bought that one. It was about $25. And it also took me about, an hour of sitting on the living room floor watching television, grumbling and cursing about how difficult it was to put together. Well, not really hard, but just kind of a pain in the butt. So anyway, I really didn't have the cash for it. And I thought, well, I guess I'll just take a rim. My son and I talked about it. We'll take like a car rim and we'll put a pipe on it and we'll make a stand. And that sounded complicated. So I got thinking about it some more and I thought, man, I don't want to spend a couple hours making another stand. Then I got another piece of equipment, which I was going to have anyway, something else eating up shop floor space, which is already at a premium in here. And So I just I didn't even take it out of the car. I just left it in the car for probably close to 2 weeks. And I was just kind of like, I need it. I'll get into why in a little bit, but I thought, I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. And then the light bulb went on. When I bought this really cheap piece of garbage vise that immediately broke and wouldn't stop spinning, and the thread stripped out. And I haven't gotten around to fixing it properly. I just over threaded it and put a big bolt in there, and good enough for what I got it for. But what I do use this for is both my shrinker stretcher and my bead roller. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, I could make a base for that.
Not a lead guitar, not a drum set, a bass.
And adapt it to work on this very thing again. And I only have to have one stand taking up floor space in the shop, and I can be swapping things around and just have a shelf to put the buffer and the bead roller and the shrinker stretcher on. And this becomes very universal, hence my term, universal tool system. So then I started thinking through, well, what can I create a base out of? And yeah, I got some plate steel around I could make one out of. And I don't know. And then I went, you've got a huge amount of hardwood left from rebuilding the lofts in this barn. I'm sure there's a nice piece of hardwood up there that you could bolt this to. And then you know what else? I bet I have a nice big piece of angle iron that I could bolt it to as well. And so we'd have a hardwood base, and then we would have a piece of angle iron that would just clamp right in that vise. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this together and put it in the universal tooling system and expand our usage. Now, let me make this also clear, just like Wonder Woman's jet. I don't use the shrinker stretcher and the bead roller at the same time, hardly ever. So it's no big deal to swap those out. And I'm pretty darn sure I won't use the bead roller in the buffer, or the bead roller in the bead roller in the buffer, or the shrinker stretcher in the buffer, or whatever it is I'm trying to confuse myself with at the moment. Anyway, I'm trying to say I won't use those at the same time either. So I think this is a winner-winner. Even better, I was going to go upstairs and get a piece of hardwood, and I looked down, and lo and behold, I have a piece of a shipping pallet right here that has this nice logo on it that we're going to not use for anything important. And this isn't hardwood, but you know what? As I'm looking at the design of this and realizing that it's 2 bolts that go through, and I'm probably going to drill those 2 bolts right into the angle iron anyway, probably this softwood is going to work fine. And you know what? Even if it doesn't, who cares? I'll just replace it later. So this is already cut pretty much to the size that I need this way. So all I got to do is go and draw a line.
Not in the sand, in the wood. It's okay.
Cut that off, and then we'll get some holes drilled, and we'll find that piece of 2 or 3 inch angle iron that I've got, and we'll whack a piece of that off. And just, why am I telling you? I'm going to show you. I don't know why I'm continuing to tell you.
Don't tell anybody. I'm opening the instructions. I'm hoping there's a template in here for drilling the holes, but there's not.
Now we've got a piece of, what is that, 2 inch? I don't know. It's angle iron. Yeah, it's 2 inch. So we're going to cut a piece of 2 inch, the same length as this. Maybe just a, just a Nova Scotia, just a. Again, this is why it's so important to pay attention to your environment. I looked around, I didn't see anything that I thought was going to be a problem, but there was. So, did it ever occur to you that maybe I do that stuff on purpose to just give little safety demonstrations?
You never know. And I'm not telling.
In our little universal stand, and I've got it all laid out. So we're going to get our DeWalt centering pilot point bits, and just through that, and we'll go from there. I've got a big 1/2-inch chuck drill right there, but I prefer this one because it doesn't break my wrist like that thing will. I think we need to get the big one.
We do that to take the burr off because we don't want it to be cold.
I actually have bolts, nuts, and washers that look like maybe they'll be long enough. So let's see what we can do, eh? Yep, they're going to work. Very good. Do we want washers on the top of that? Probably not. Do we want washers on the bottom of it? Probably yes. Oh, good, we're crooked. Perfect. That'll be the perfect thing. That'll be fine. We'll just compensate a little bit. That's what I'm trying to say.
Perfect.
Well, if you have OCD, what the heck are you doing on my channel? It's on there. It's pretty good. The angle of this is pretty close to that. The wood is off just a little bit. I could muck around with it. I don't care as long as the little footies are there. And we don't want to tighten this up too much because that could crack the wood for one thing. But the whole point of this is just to kind of mount it to give it something to hold on to. So I'm going to get my Loctite and put some Loctite on those and just finger tighten them down. Here we go. We have another piece of equipment to put in the MKS UTMS. For those who don't know, it's the My Car Shop Universal Tool Mounting System. I was checking this one. If they are spiral sewn, you want to make sure that the way you spin them is so that it doesn't undo the threading. This one's not. It's spiraled. It's sewn orbitally. Is that right? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's sewn in circles in 5 different stitches.
Not Stitch's Challenger.
Look, this is a left-hand thread, so this is like the left-hand side of a Mopar. Oops. So spacer, cup, pad, cup, left-hand thread, lefty tighty, righty loosey. Okay, we're going to get a wrench, tighten these down. Be right back. Here we go, first time ever. Cool. And we have something else that goes with this as well. The other thing that I picked up is compounds. So I have the polishing compounds, this is a fast cut, so it's a rough compound for removing scratches for copper, brass, stainless, steel, and aluminum. Stainless steel, steel, and aluminum. The black one is for it's a hard metal compound. It's very aggressive. So this is fast cut. This is super aggressive, and this is also for like removing rust on iron and steel, scratches and burrs, stuff like that. And then we also have the polish finish compound, for copper, brass, stainless, steel, and steel. So it would be rough cut. Basically, this is medium, and then the polish. So you'll see that coming on more episodes. That wasn't the point today. I just wanted to get this put together. I thought it was worth sharing with you because I'd like you to think a little differently. It seems like sometimes, and I wasn't thinking this way either, other than my bead roller and my shrinker stretcher. It seems like we end up buying, a piece of equipment, a piece of equipment, a piece of equipment, and it eats up all of this floor space, and we never use all of those things at the same time. And we can make ourselves some kind of a universal mounting system. I think this vise at Harbor Freight, I got it on clearance sale, which I see why, because it's a piece of crap, but I think I paid $50 for it. So I wouldn't use it for anything real heavy, but I couldn't pass it up, and I thought, well, that'll work good for the bead roller and the shrinker stretcher. And it just took a while to get my brain wrapped around the fact that I could add another tool into what I'm now calling the MKS-UTMS, or the MKS-UTM system. There you go, MKS-UTM system. There we go. Do you think I'll remember that by next episode? No. So here's your homework assignment. What other pieces of equipment do you think we could add to this so that we could universalize this and make it even more universal? Guess that's kind of what universalize means. What other things can you think of that? Like my bench grinder's mounted permanently over there, so that wouldn't be an option. And that I like to have mounted because it's something that I use all the time, and it would be a pain in the neck to be like bopping around and having to put it in here and take it out and stuff like that. But when we're going to be polishing stuff, like for example, we got a whole bunch of stainless to be polishing for the 69 Charger, and that's going to be coming soon. We're going to start to move forward on a lot more reassembly on that car. This is going to be just the cat's meow for doing stuff like this, and I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, I don't know, I may get a couple more pieces of rubber to kind of cushion this, and so there's not as much strain on that board. I may need to replace that with hardwood. Point today was to proof of concept. I think it's going to work. I used what I had just kicking around here without having to go dig upstairs and stuff like that. So hey, there you go. I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Tell other people about the channel. If you're on other social media and you find these things interesting, entertaining, or both, maybe a little bit of educational, please tell other people. We love having you here. We got a great community here, and we're really trying to stick hard to the core of being a DIY shop, something that's attainable for every guy, even if he has a one-car garage. Obviously, mine's bigger than that, and I've got a bunch of projects, but really what I'm doing here, if I only had one car, I wouldn't be doing anything different, and it's just about being able to do it yourself. So the other thing that the veterans here on the channel, the dyed-in-the-wool old school shop rats, are going to tell you, and it's important. Rock!